ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। In the last class, we have seen the 9th chapter, and at the conclusion, we have understood Manmana bhavamadbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. This is the final conclusion that Krishna has given. How to become a devotee? These are the 4 processes which you have to follow. Now, Manmana means to remember Krishna. Krishna is asking us to remember him. But how to remember Krishna? If we want to remember someone, then we should know about them. Then the mind will remember the person. Whether we knowingly or unknowingly, we will remember the people whom you like or whom you hate. So either way, we remember the person. So if we want to love the Lord, then only we can remember him. So if you want to love or if you want to remember the Lord continuously, then we should find something that is there in the Lord by which we can remember him. Or in other words, the opulence of the Lord. Something that attracts. Whatever the Lord has, we should know about it. And in that way, we can contemplate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like 2 close friends, they remember each other because they have some certain qualities between them, because of which they remember each other every day. They talk to each other every day. They would like to be in association all the time because they have certain qualities. So if that quality is unknown, then there can't be any relation between the two. They both cannot become 2 good friends, or they cannot remember each other. So in this chapter, the 10th chapter, continuing from the 9th chapter, he is teaching us how we can remember Krishna in each and every activity that we do in our daily life. How Krishna is involved in our life. If we understand this, remembering Krishna becomes very, very easy. So let us start today's session. This is Unit 2, the second part of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7 to 12, Bhakti Yoga. We have lesson 6 today, that is the 6th session. Today's portion is text number 1 to 11. The last 4 texts are the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, that is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Entire Bhagavad Gita is given in 4 shloka. Let us take the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What we learned in the fifth session, qualities and behavior of Mahatma, and giving certain examples from Srila Prabhupada's life. So all of us have glorified Srila Prabhupada, his life, by taking different instances. Then evaluation of demigod worship, the 3rd, 7th chapter and 9th chapter 20 to 25. Then finally, principles of pure devotional service, how Krishna Bhakti can be easily performed. So it is how it easily it can be performed by anyone. And application of Krishna statement, sadhureva, that means sadhureva samantavya. Anybody who is practicing Krishna consciousness, he has to be considered as sadhu. He has taken the right path. He may be in difficulty in following all the regulative principles or difficulty in advancing, but still the path what he has taken is correct. So he has to be considered as sadhu. Then essence of the Bhagavad Gita, that is the last text number 34. We have studied this much in the last session. Today, further continuation. This chapter is called as Vibhuti Yoga or Vibhuti Vistara Yoga, or the opulence of the absolute. Opulence is also called as Vibhuti. Vibhuti means opulence, where Krishna will explain his opulences to Arjuna. And what is the intention behind this? It is to fulfill the previous instruction what Krishna has given. Remember me. Man mana. How to achieve this? By knowing the opulence. That is Vibhuti. So Krishna is telling in the first text here, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. So what kind of knowledge he is giving? Let us continue. It's called as Vibhuti. Opulences. With Vistara means detailed description or explanation Krishna is going to give. Opulence of the Absolute. That is the title of that chapter. While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all 6 opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parashara Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, when Krishna is explaining these opulences to us, we should consider it as the mercy that he is showing us. Generally, in the material world, everyone likes to show his opulence, but that is because of selfish motive. I want to show my opulence so that I can become famous, or people will think that I'm great, I'm so great. But that is not the intention with which Krishna is showing his opulence. Krishna is already great. Whether we accept it or not, he is always glorious. So Krishna, when he is telling his glories, or when he is giving his opulences, he's showing his opulences, that is the mercy, or that is the benediction that he is showing to his devotees. That's why it was Arjuna who could hear Bhagavad Gita, the pure devotee who can hear Bhagavad Gita. If Krishna explains this opulences to any other person who is not a devotee, he will feel envious. That's why Krishna is telling Bhaktosime Sakhachiti Rahasyam hi etaduttamam. Arjuna, because you are my devotee and you are not envious of me, I am explaining this all knowledge to you. If you are not a devotee, if somebody is not a devotee, then they may not feel this, they may not like to hear all these opulences, because they find Krishna as their competitor, just like the Shishupala. He could not hear glories of Krishna. He was always chastising him. So only this part is only for devotees. This is called Bhakti Yoga, the most important chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 9 and 10. What Parashara Muni has told, there are 6 opulences that are listed by Parashara Muni. Can anyone list those 6 opulences? They can raise your hand. This we have studied from very first day of our level 1 learning. Yeah, Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Full of strength, full of beauty, full of knowledge, full of renunciation. He is powerful. Then he is knowledgeable.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sarita Mataji, Sarita Kapoor Mataji, you can repeat. Means you can once again.
Yeah. He is all beauty, all fame, all knowledge, all renunciation, all riches, and all strength.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So these are the 6 opulences that is given by Parashara Muni. And one who completely possesses this 100%, he is the Bhagavan. The devotees of the Lord are also considered as Bhagavan because they possess the Lord, or they are also considered as Bhagavan because they are liked by the Lord, or they are the devotees of the Lord. They are dependent on the Lord. That's why they also considered as Bhagavan. But the original Bhagavan, or the person who possesses all these 6 opulences, is Lord Shri Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is possessing all the 6 opulences. Now let us understand how specifically we can learn these opulences one by one. Anybody would like to read this? They can raise their hand. Radha Vallabhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Vibhuti Vistara Yoga. Previously, beginning with the 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they are acting. Now in this chapter, he explains his specific opulence to Arjuna. Purport 10.1.
Thank
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now in the beginning, the second text, if you see, Krishna is telling, Name vidu suragana prabhavam na maharshayaha. That means neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. That means knowing Krishna is not so easy. Unless Krishna himself reveals, we cannot understand him. He is so glorious, his glory is so much that even Ananta cannot completely finish telling all his opulences. It is not possible by anyone, any person, to understand the Lord completely. He is not telling about human beings. He is telling about the demigods or great sages who are really great. They have done a lot of penance they have taken, and they are very knowledgeable, but still they cannot understand the Lord completely. That means we should understand what we are going to hear now is really very, very much important. This is like some treasure that Krishna is opening in front of us. It may be the Bhagavad Gita is available for all and anybody can read it, but how much we understand after reading makes the difference. Yeah, Deepti Mataji, can you read this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Vibhuti Vistara Yoga. Although he is not known even to the demigods, even to the great sages, he can be known to you at your home. Ajit Jito Apiyasi. Although he is unconquerable, if you adopt this process, because greater personalities than us in the human society, the Devas, the Surgana, they cannot know. Bhagavad Gita 10.2, Free, New York, January.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So
1967, sorry.
yeah, it's okay. So in this, what Srila Prabhupada is telling, although Krishna has told, demigods also cannot understand me. It doesn't mean that you cannot understand, because here understanding in the sense, It is the accepting the fact. The spiritual knowledge is a descending knowledge. We are not making any experiment here, or we are coming to know about the Lord not because of our own effort or our own qualification. It is because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the spiritual master, because of which we can understand who is the Lord. Ajita jitopyasi. That means Ajita, Krishna cannot be conquered by anyone. Krishna can be conquered only by the devotees or the devotion that one has for him. Krishna told in Srimad Bhagavatam that if somebody performs devotional service to him, devotional service to Krishna, then that devotee has the power to purchase Krishna. Krishna can give himself to that devotee, because devotees, they don't expect anything else. They want only Krishna. So Krishna will give himself. So Krishna will not give his devotion to everyone easily, the pure devotion, because he will become a puppet in their hands, in that devotee's hand. Krishna will give everything. If you ask for money, he will give. If you want opulence, if you want name, fame, anything you ask, he will give. He will give you. Even if you want a different planet, he will give. But he will not give the pure devotion to you, anybody, so easily, because that is his real property. Just like Mother Yashoda, she was running behind Krishna with a stick to catch him. But who can catch him? He is Ajita. Nobody can defeat him. Nobody can find him. But finally, she caught him. It is because of the love that she has for him. It is not because of her capacity to run, or because of her qualification, or something like that, or because of her endeavor. It is not possible to catch Krishna. But if somebody does devotional service sincerely under the guidance of spiritual master, definitely Krishna will show himself to that person to whatever degree he has surrendered. So these all are things which we know, which we should know before understanding, before we start learning who is Krishna and about whom we are going to study now, about whom we are going to hear now. So there are so many great personalities. Brahma could not understand who is Krishna. When Brahma came to Vrindavan, he saw Krishna. And Brahma has told in Brahma Samhita himself, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. And this Sarva Karana Karana, he is holding some the curd rice in his left hand, and he is eating among so many cowherd boys. And how this boy can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Brahma also got bewildered. Okay, let me check. Let me have one test for him. If he is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he will pass in my test. So Brahma wanted to test Krishna. What he did, he took away all the calves which were grazing there, which was at certain distance. Then the cowherd boys, all the cowherd boys with Krishna, they were all taking prasadam. They were eating. Now the cowherd boys came to know that the calves are missing. You can keep your audio muted and video on. So the cows are missing. Now where to find the calf? Krishna told, I will go and get them. You continue eating. So Krishna left from that place and he started searching for them. Then Brahma took away all these boys also. All these cowherd boys also he took away. Then Krishna, when he came back, then cowherd boys are also not there. So there was no calf, there was no cowherd boys. Nobody is there. And Krishna could understand everything. But what he did, he played another trick over Brahma. Brahma wanted to bewilder Krishna. But Krishna was so powerful that he bewildered Brahma himself. Who came to bewilder Krishna, he himself got bewildered. So Brahma took him it was very fraction of time. But in the calculation of Brahma, his 1 second becomes our 1 year. So Brahma took the covered boys and calves and kept them somewhere. And after some time, he came back. But within that span, 1 year is passed in Vrindavan. What Krishna did, he expanded himself into all the covered boys and all the calves and went to their respective houses. And these parents, the cows and the mothers, they were feeling more love for these new calves and the covered boys than earlier, because this is Supreme Personality of Godhead himself who has come here. So they all got the opportunity to have association of Lord Krishna, which was there already in their heart. Then when Brahma came back after 1 year, he saw all the covered boys are playing, all the cows are playing. They are as it is. It was so much arranged that all the covered boys, whatever taste they had, whatever kind of dress they were wearing, and whatever behavior they had, it was exactly matched by Krishna. Even the calves. The cow also could not make out it is some other calf, because otherwise generally they can easily make out, but nobody could understand. Now Brahma, getting bewildered, he came down and he surrendered to Krishna. And suddenly all these calves and covered boys, they came to the original position, the 400 forms of Vishnu. So in this way, great devotees also get bewildered. Indra also got bewildered. Indra could not understand who is Krishna. When Krishna told Indra, he is pride. He is proud. Now we have to remove his pride. So what we have to do? We worship the Govardhan, because Govardhan is taking care of the covered, these cows, these calves, and all the covered people. So we will worship Govardhan. But Indra could not make out. This is Supreme Personality of Godhead who has done this. And he tried to attack Krishna. And then he got defeated. And even after doing this, again, later on, when Krishna wanted to bring Parijata from the heaven, again he fought. Again he forgot, and again he fought with Krishna. So this forgetfulness is the nature of living entity. So even if these great devotees or great demigods only get bewildered, then what to speak of ordinary people? But Srila Prabhupada is telling here, don't worry, you can understand Krishna, not by your own endeavor, but by the mercy. By taking the instructions of the spiritual master, whatever he says, because understanding Krishna is beyond our capacity. But if we really take the instructions of the spiritual master seriously, then definitely one can understand who is Krishna. Rakshita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Here, the Lord indirectly says that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme. One should know this. We can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hare Krishna. So Krishna, Srila Prabhupada is telling here, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know this. So by taking this instruction from Srila Prabhupada, we can understand. Descending knowledge is like our grandparents have told what is gold to our parents. And our parents have told what is gold to us. So whatever the glittering metal, whatever they have shown, we have accepted it as gold. This is the descending knowledge. We have not taken it for any chemistry lab and tested it and checked whether it's gold or not. That we have not done. We have accepted it. And because we have accepted from the right authority, whatever knowledge we got, that is authorized or it is correct. Just like the father says, this is a mic, this is a microphone. And the child learns, yes, this is microphone. Because Father is authorized to give the knowledge, and the knowledge whatever he is giving is valid, or it is the authentic, that the Son is learning the he's getting the knowledge, or he's getting the wisdom without any personal effort. Whatever effort he is putting, that is his faith in his Father, the words of his Father. Sarita Kapoor Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Everything flows from Krishna, 10.4 to 10.5. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. 10.4 to 10.5 purport.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunaiस्तत्र samasate sura. Harau abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathe nasato dauto bahi. What is the benefit of learning about Krishna? The learning about the glories of Krishna. When we glorify Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we learn about all his good qualities, these good qualities will develop within us also. If we say Krishna is the all attractive, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the most beautiful person, and he is the most knowledgeable person. These qualities, whatever we are telling, it's a fact for the Lord, but these qualities will develop within us also. So we can see here, one who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord himself. There is no separate endeavor that one has to do. But on the other hand, a person who is not a devotee, harau abhaktasya, kuto mahadguna, a non-devotee, he doesn't have any good quality. Why it is said so? Because manorathe nasato dauto bahi. He is following his mind. The non-devotee, he may behave properly in the society. It is just because of fear, or it is just because he don't want to get troubled by others. That's why he doesn't trouble others. But other than that, there is no second reason why a person behaves like a normal civilized person. But whenever there is an opportunity, the person will cheat others, or he will create trouble for others. But the devotee, he is knowing what is the purpose of life, what is the consequences of breaking the laws, and if I really want to please Krishna, then I have to follow all the 4 regulative principles, and I have to chant the holy name of the Lord. Knowing all these things, he will always behave responsibly, and all the good qualities of the demigods, or all the Yasyasi bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunaiस्तत्र samasate sura. The sura, that is the demigod qualities, will develop within himself always. Now here is the activity. Locate and read where those qualities are explained in the purport. List different ways we can best develop these particular qualities by the practice of Bhakti. This is from 10.4 and 5. You have to mention, or you have to locate those qualities which one can develop when he does devotional service to Krishna. Identify some examples from Shastra of devotees who developed these qualities. You can give some examples of the devotees who has shown these qualities. First, you have to locate the qualities. Second, you have to identify different devotees who has shown these qualities. Okay, so this is the activity. Anybody has any doubt? You have to take to text number 4 and 5 and locate this. Yeah, Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Prabhuji, can you give the reference of the shloka which you have just now talked about?
That is in some other place, Mataji. I will tell you after this session.
Okay.
I have to
Okay.
search for it.
Sure.
I think it is coming in Nectar of Devotion somewhere. I will check and tell you.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Hare Krishna.
So one more question. You want us to take few such
Yes.
characteristics and give a reference?
Yeah, the qualities one can develop while doing devotional service. The first part. Second part, you can take one or two examples of devotees who have shown these qualities, just like the tolerance.
Sure.
The devotee is very tolerant, titikshavaha. So you can take Haridas Thakur as the example, like that.
Hare Krishna.
Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, are you making groups or we have to talk individually?
And I will make the group now. 20 people are there. Shall I make 4 groups? Is it okay, Muralidhar Prabhu?
Yeah.
4 groups will be made. 3 minutes for discussion, 2 minutes for explanation. Yeah, time starts now.
I saw Sarita Mataji just now. Hey, again she vanished. Hey, हाथ ऊपर किया ना?
Okay, welcome back to the session. Hare Krishna. Yeah, the qualities which we develop by doing devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and some of the examples of devotees who have shown these qualities. These are the two questions. Yeah, first Sureshwar Priya Mataji, you can start.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I
Hare.
will tell you some of the qualities and the relevant examples. Deepti Sahu Mataji from the group, she will be talking. All of us were together discussing, and the various points we pointed out, and that I'm just telling the points, that's all.
Yes.
Okay, the very first one, we took it as knowledge. And there are two different types of knowledge, material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. In academics, we will have only the knowledge of the matter, not about the spirit. So that is not having any value. One should have the spiritual knowledge. So this kind of an understanding we should have. Knowledge should be spiritual, not purely academic. Now coming to intelligence, we all are intelligent, but are we using our intelligence in the right direction? That is what is needed. So the intelligence should be used to analyze what is good for our spiritual advancement. Then next point is asammoha. Asammoha means freedom from doubt and delusion. So those who are into Krishna consciousness, they are free from doubt and bewilderment, because we are having a name and we want to reach Lord Krishna, and we are just following the scriptures, sadhu and shastra. So when we are following this, whatever knowledge we have the supporting documents. So all these documents, smridis and shruti, all these will guide us properly so that we can reach our aim. Now again, next, this one is bhayam and abhayam. Normally Krishna devotees are abhaya, or they are not, they don't have any fear. The basic reason for fear is we are not sure about our future. That is the main anxiety. So those who are into Krishna consciousness, we are very sure that Krishna will take care of all of us, so we don't have to worry about our future. So all devotees are fearless, and non-devotees are supposed to be fearful, because they don't know anything about what is going to happen in the next moment. But a Krishna devotee will not feel anything bad or good happens to him. Now again, the next point I can remember, that is yash and fame and infamy. Now, who is a famous person? The great devotee of the Lord is the famous person, and a non-devotee should be considered as an infamous person. The simple reason is that when you are devoted your life to Lord Krishna, there is no such great famous person in this material world. He is the superior most person of fame in this world. Then coming to charity,
Okay,
as per the,
we'll give
okay,
chance to others. Yeah.
okay, Deepti Sahu Mataji may tell some examples she had pointed out.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unmute yourself, Mataji. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. That was for now.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Prabhuji, a few examples against these qualities is, one is for the first one, that is spiritual knowledge and intelligence. We can see the example of Jad Bharatji, who was Maharaj Bharat in his previous life. And so he had this spiritual knowledge when, even Maharaj Rahugan, he accepted him as his spiritual master. So we could say that. And freedom from doubt. I'm not sure about that. Freedom from doubt and delusion. But fearless, yes. Prahlad Maharaj was really fearless in his activities, and because he was completely dedicated to the devotional service, he was completely engaged in devotional service of the Lord, unalloyed devotional service. And for fame, we could see Dhruv Maharaj, the way, we remember that how Dhruv Maharaj, he went to the forest, but by the mercy of his spiritual master Narad Muni, he was able to meditate on Lord Vishnu. And when he saw him, when he appeared in front of him, he said, okay, I was looking for the broken pieces of the glasses, but there is a diamond for me in front of me. So he said, okay, I have no material desire now, but still Lord he gave him this benediction and he offered him Dhruv Loka. So we could say that his devotees are always full of opulences. Even Mata Kunti, when she forgave where Ashwatthama. So these are, sorry, not Mata Kunti, Draupadi. So she forgave Ashwatthama. So we could understand these are a few examples, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Next, Sarita Kapoor Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, few of them they've already said. And see, we took up, there were three of us, Shri Priya, Haripriya Mataji and Netravati Mataji.
Okay.
So they can put in the inputs in between if they feel wherever I'm stammering. So the intelligence is what we thought it, because the live example of Srila Prabhupada, because he was involved both in the material world also. He was highly educated. He had a material knowledge, but final satisfaction he got when he went into the spiritual knowledge. So the material knowledge, like when his factory was burned and he went into debt also. So that was a live example that he compared both of them, but he picked up to the spiritual knowledge. We brought the satisfaction for him, and he gave a lot for the other people and in the generations to come. Then Asamoha, that they've already told, but we thought of that is freedom from doubt, and that was a Prahlad Maharaj who was so stern in his belief. He had no doubts in his mind that Krishna would never come to rescue him. Or maybe he had so much of a doubt, he was fearless from the death also. Then the other one is Satyam. That Satyam is that the truthfulness, that always they are into they are not bewildered by any of the situation for them to go astray from their spiritual path. And that is the Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was one of the most Satya person. Then for the Dana, for the person who's very big at heart, and is very into giving, and that is a Bali Maharaj. That he was, even after giving the whole of the universe, he was not perturbed. And then the third foot, he said to put it on his head when Krishna came as a form of Yaman Maharaj. Then the truthfulness, where it says there's no offense to others. Then control of senses. Now that is an important thing which is there, which they're telling, and most live example is Amrish Maharaj for the control of senses. He could put all his senses for the devotion service to the Lord. Bhava, then and then Shama is a big thing, where you can take it as the Nityanand Prabhu, that he gave pardon to the Jagai and Mathai, both of them, and that is the Shama means to pardon. Whatever you want, that anybody does it, it's you analyze it, and that person is pardoned, and they give it a chance for reforming back to the normal life, to the more spiritual path. That is the biggest quality, because many people resent coming to the spiritual path, and that is why Nityanand Prabhu was one of them. Bhava, highest bhava is what we think is that the one who is understood that the body is beyond the birth, death, old age, disease. What he thinks, the body is not for that only. He thinks it much higher than that, and is not concerned about all this. And that is Parikshit Maharaj, what we discussed.
Thank you. Thank you. Next,
okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So, Samta, equality, freedom from the attachment and aversion. The examples we have taken is Prabhupada. So he had treated all people around the world similar. He made them Vaishnavas. Knowledge, acquiring knowledge for understanding Lord Krishna. We have example of Vyasadeva here. And when he had written Vedantas and all the scriptures, he was still not satisfied. He was very morose. And Narada Muni, told him why he is, because he has not mentioned about Lord Krishna. Forgiveness, we have forgiveness is to, the devotee forgives even for smaller mistake. We have example of Amrish Maharaj. and even Draupadi, Draupadi Maharani, who Ashwatthama killed his children, but he asked Arjuna not to kill because they are the sons of the Brahmana and their guru, and how Mata of Ashwatthama will feel. Since I am facing the same, my feelings are same right now because I have lost my children. Tolerance even for the small mistake. So again, we had, Prabhuji, you just talked about Haridas Thakur, that prostitute came couple of times, but he was always busy chanting Lord Hari's name, and then he made her also a great devotee. Asamoha, control of the senses, not to use for unnecessary material enjoyment. I think Asamoha is also Haridas Thakur here, because he was not bewildered by the materialistic enjoyment. He was always, when he was even taken for that 24 marketplaces, he could have, just taken a shelter saying, no, okay, why should I? He would have got bewildered, but he had such a faith in Hari's name that he went to all, and still he was chanting, Lord Krishna's name. Bhava. I think I will let others in the team to talk. Rakshita Mataji and Harini Mataji, you want to add?
Hare Krishna. So for tolerance, we also took the example of Vasudeva and Devaki, because
Yes.
all their children were killed, but they held on to it because they wanted Krishna to, be born and do his pastimes here. So that is one example. And for fame, we discussed about Arjuna,
Yeah.
because Krishna let Arjuna take all the glory and the victory of the war. Although Krishna was the player behind the scenes, but he let Arjuna take all the fame for it. And then knowledge, we can also take Kapila, because he was young, he was just 5 years old, and he instructed his mother. And also the Goswamis.
Yeah, Kapila is
for-
coming under Vishnu Tattva. He is the incarnation directly. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Goswamis for intelligence and austerity. They would not stay under one tree a day, right? They would change and go to another tree. So they were not developing attachment with anything, and austerity as well. They used to lead a life of a mendicant, and also no, intelligence. They composed a lot of shastras and everything for us. And
Yeah.
this was an incident that we discussed, as an example, that when Durvasa Muni and his disciples went to Draupadi asking for food, they had nothing to offer him. And then Draupadi prayed and Krishna came. Krishna ate. Krishna was satisfied. He burped, and everybody else outside also started burping one by one without even eating anything. So this was a small incident that we wanted to quote. And equanimity, that is pleasure and pain, looking at pleasure and pain similar in a similar way. Again, Prabhupada, because he had a loss in his pharmacy business, and he took it as a special mercy of Krishna. And he looked at, like Mataji told, he looked at even hippies. He looked at hippies also as Vaishnavas, and he converted everybody into Vaishnavas. And yeah, that's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sarita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so some of the points which we could make point. So forgiveness and for control of senses, we can take example of Amrish Maharaj. So Amrish Maharaj, which Bhagavatam states how he used all his senses in the service of Lord. So how he used his eyes to see the form of the Lord, and with the hands used to do the margin of the temple, and with the nose he used to smell the tulsi of offered to the Krishna. and with the legs he used to go to the dham of the Lord. And with that, and also control of senses, how he controlled, like he exhibited when Durvas Muni came and tested him. So, so that, and also like he was almost after he, I mean, almost 1 year he waited till he come back. So that also shows how much control he has on senses. One more for control of senses, Raghunath Goswami, one of our Acharya, who also did so much of austerity, like he used to pay obeisances to the Lord 1,000 times and to the devotees 2,000 times. And with just buttermilk, he used to be there, and most of the time used in chanting the holy name of the Lord. And fearlessness, Prahlad Maharaj. So though every day his father was trying to see how, I mean, making a new plan to kill him. So he was fearless because always he was remembering Lord Krishna. So for fearlessness, Prahlad Maharaj. And for non-violence, we've taken Jada Bharat example, where he showed how merciful he was even towards the ant. So when when he was carrying the Rahogun, so when he could see on the road there were few ants, like he was not even stepping on them because he was on a he was above. I mean, he was in a spiritual platform, I can't say, like he was in a Brahman realization. So for charity, I think others also mentioned Bali Maharaj, like how he gave his life for Vishnu. And for austerity, Dhruv Maharaj. So how austerity he performed for being a small child of 5-year-old. So much of penance he took for almost more than 6 months. He was living with just with the, towards the end, he was just having only leaves and breathing in almost 12 days, once in 12 days. So much of austerity he did. And intelligence, Prabhuji, couple of like Prahlad Maharaj, Arjun and Vasudev also with you, and somebody else also I think mentioned. And Yagnik Brahman Pratnis, how they were able to identify that it is Krishna and Balram. But then their husbands who were Karmakandi Brahmins, they were more into Vedic rituals, but the devotees, they're intelligent enough, they could find out that they're Lord themselves. So intelligence we took. And for knowledge, Kunti Maharani, so she was so knowledgeable. She, in her prayer, she says that one cannot approach the Lord if they have material desire. I mean, sincerely, somebody cannot approach. And that realization she has. And she also asked Lord to give a lot of misery so that she will never forget the Lord. So that realization comes to a devotee because Krishna says, Matta Smriti Gnanam Apohanamcha. So he gives that intelligence and knowledge. And yeah, intelligence, Arjuna and Vasudeva we had taken. Is for happiness and distress, Prabhupada. So how he, in any, so much of problem he had, like when he didn't have any success also, but he didn't give up. So he was involved in writing the Shastri and writing the Bhagavata. And even after going to West, after having, in between all calamities, he was very focused. I mean, he took both same. Like, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare. Maybe if somebody want to add, they can actually Priya Mataji or Pradosh Prabhu.
Yeah, you can raise your hand if anybody wants to add. Okay. Yeah, Mataji had asked one shloka. Yes, that is. (5:18:12). The reference for that. Radhavallavi Mataji had asked, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavatya Kinchana, Sarvai Gunais-tatra Samasate Sura, Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna, Manoratena Sato Davato Bahi. 5:18:12. This is, yeah, you can refer this later on. Okay, so anybody does any kirtan? Today we have a little time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sarita Mataji as
Yeah, please, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, can you share the screen?
Yeah, Mataji.
Jeev jago, jeev jago, Gaura Chand bole, jeev jago, jeev jago, Gaura Chand bole, Kota nitra jao maya, Vishachira kole, Kota nitra jao maya, Vishachira kole, Jeev jago, jeev jago, Gaura Chand bole, Baji bo buriya se, Samsara bhitare, Baji bo buriya se, Samsara bhitare, Bhuliya rohile tumi, Avidyara bhare, Bhuliya rohile tumi, Avidyara bhare, Tomare lohite yami, Hoinu avatara, Tomare lohite yami, Hoinu avatara, Ami bina bandhuvara, Yache tumara, Ami bina bandhuvara, Yache tumara, Ine che aushadhi maya, Nasi barulagi, Ine che aushadhi maya, Nasi barulagi, Hari Nama Maha Mantra, Lao tumi magi, Hari Nama Maha Mantra, Lao tumi magi, Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu, Sarane Pariya, Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu, Charane Pariya, Se Hari Nama Mantra, Loilo Magiya, Se Hari Nama Mantra, Loilo Magiya, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation. Lord Gauranga is calling, wake up, sleeping souls, wake up, sleeping souls. How long will you sleep in the lap of which called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the world of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, you have no friend in this world. I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's feet having taken this Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, now we have come to almost end of the session. Next, we'll be talking about the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. So This is like when Lord Brahma heard the knowledge from Krishna, it was Bhagavatam which was spoken. It was very short form. Only 4 shlokas were spoken to Krishna, spoken to Brahma, and that is called as Chatushloki Bhagavatam. This is very famous, Chatushloki Bhagavatam, where all the essence of entire Bhagavatam is given. Similarly, these 4 shloka, the 8, 9, 10, and 11, are the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna is explaining or summarizing everything, whatever he taught till now. After this, after hearing this, Arjuna stops questioning. Now, next he will give his feedback. Till now, whatever Arjuna was talking, it is all questions to Krishna. Krishna, how is this? What is this? Can you give more explanation? Can you give some examples? But after this shloka, these 4 shloka, Arjuna gives feedback to Krishna, and he speaks about whatever he is feeling in all other next coming chapters, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all these chapters. Arjuna is not only asking questions, he is also giving some input or the feedback to Krishna. Krishna, I am getting this. Yes, I am feeling like this. Like this, you can see so many words or so many sentences that Arjuna is speaking further onwards. So in one sense, this Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita is the almost end of the instructions, whatever Krishna wanted to say. So here Krishna is concluding. In the previous chapter, he has concluded that devotion to Krishna is the final goal of the human being or the person who is practicing spiritual life. When he comes to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, then his life is perfect. And the Varnashrama systems are explained as a stepping stone to this. So you follow the rules and regulations of Varnashrama system and come to this understanding Krishna is the Supreme, and always remember Krishna. And in the 10th chapter, he has explained how to remember Krishna. Next, Krishna is giving this Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, which is the conclusion or which is the final instruction for Arjuna, or all the questions of Arjuna are cleared here, and Arjuna has completely understood what he is supposed to do. Next, in the 11th chapter, he is asking Krishna to show the Vishwarupa. It is not only for himself, or it is not for himself, as it is clearly mentioned by Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas, because Arjuna has already told that Krishna, I have accepted you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And again, there is no question of doubting Krishna's opulences, but it is for other people who may claim that they themselves as God. They may also show some magic and say that I am also God. For such people, Arjuna is asking to show this Vishwarupa, so that in the future also somebody, if they say that I am also God, they can show their Vishwarupa. Now let us continue to the this portion, that is the text number. Okay, before that, let us list all the opulences once again. These are the opulences that is listed. Almost every quality you have come across and given the examples. Buddhi, Jnana, Sammoha, that is knowledge, intelligence, and detachment from the material sense gratification. Kshama, Satyam, Dama, Shama, Sukham, Dukkham, Bhaya, Abhayam, Ahimsa, Samata, Tushti, Tapaha, Danam, Yashaha. So these are the 12 qualities that is listed in the Bhagavad Gita, which we have discussed just now. Further continuing, going to Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. So what we have to do now is, we will not make another breakout room. We just discuss here. Sanskrit words, phrases, word for word translation, statements from the purports, and if applied, would enhance your spiritual life. Select some of the points could be used in the preaching. So let us continue to the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yoveti tattvataha sovikalpena yogena yujjate na atra samshayaha. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service of this, there is no doubt. So after understanding all the opulences of Lord, whoever comes to Krishna consciousness and he performs unalloyed devotional service to the Lord, definitely he will go back to Godhead. He will achieve the perfection of his life. This is the final instruction, or this is the ultimate goal why we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam, why we should learn Bhagavad Gita. The first shloka of Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita is Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material words. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So there is a long purport for this. So here in the first shloka of Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling that he is the source of everything. That means in the beginning there was no one. Krishna is the beginning. That means from Krishna everything is coming. That is all the living entities, all the material and spiritual world, everything is coming from Krishna himself. Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. One who knows this, one who understands this, he can worship me. Buddha bhava samanvita. He is considered as the intelligent person. Srila Prabhupada has given many examples here. Let us go through this purport. Anybody would like to read the purport? You can raise your hand. Yeah, Radha Vallabhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and the spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharvaveda, Gopal Tapni Upanishad 1.24, it is said, Yo Brahman Vidha Vidhadha Ari Purvam Yo Ve Vedhanas Cha Gopayati Sam Krishna. It was the Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again in the Narayana Upanishad 1 says, Atha Purusho He Vai Narayano Kamayat Parajya Shriyati. Then the Supreme Personality Narayan desire to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayana Brahma Jayate, Narayana Prajapati Parayate, Narayana Indro Jayate, Narayana Astu Vasu Jayate, Narayana Ekadas Rudra Jayate, Narayana Dasada
Dwadasha Aditya.
Dwadasha.
Yeah.
From Narayana, Brahma is born, and from Narayana, the Pariyak, Paryaks are also born. From Narayana, Indra is born. From Narayana, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras are born. And from Narayana, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayan is as expansion of Krishna. It is said in the same Veda, Brahmano Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, Krishna is the Supreme Personality, Narayana Upanishad 4. This is said, Eko va Narayana Asni, na Brahmano, Nesano, Napo, Nagin,
Agni Somau.
Somau, Ne, Dev Apritva, na
Nakshatrani.
Nakshatrani, Ne,
Surya.
Surya. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality Narayana. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven and earth. No stars in the sky, no sun. The Maha Upanishad 1.2. In the Maha Upanishad, it is also said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Vedas say that it is in the Supreme Lord, that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma section of Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapatim cha Rudrani chaya aham eva shrijyam vai tumhe mam na vajantito mam maya vimohite. The patriarchy Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded of my illusionary energy. In the Varaha Puran, it is also said, Narayanaha Paro Devasya Tasmat Jatas
Jatas Chaturmukha.
Chaturta Tasmad Rudro Bhava Deva Sacha Sarva Janati Gatha. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, and from Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generation, and it is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna is in such a way from bona fide spiritual master with reference from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I made a lot of mistakes while reading. Just pardon me for that.
It's okay, Matu. It is common. Everyone makes. Because we are not good at Sanskrit. Even I make a lot of mistakes. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So this is the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. Now, when we understand Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature, it can be divided into 3 parts. One is the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. The beginning of any literature, any Vedic literature, it will tell about what is the relation between me and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. First, it will tell who am I and who is God, and then what is the relation between me and God. So this shloka will explain this. Here, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, when Krishna is telling, we are understanding who is Krishna. And Matta Sarvam Pravartate, from him everything is coming. Iti Matva Bhajante Mam, this is how we can understand him. Iti Matva Bhajante Mam. Then Bodha Bhava Samanvitaha, he will worship me. So this is the beginning, that is the Sambandha Jnana that we are going to get. The next coming shloka will talk about the Abhideya Jnana, where how we can have relationship. That is, when we know that Krishna is our Supreme Father, then there is some relation between me and him, and there is some if there is a relation, we'll have the interaction. If two people are they are friends, then they will meet with each other, then they will have some give and take, they will have all the conversation they have. So this kind of activities they both have, that is coming under the Abhideya part. Or in the beginning state, we can say how we can re-establish our lost relationship with Krishna. That is coming under the Abhideya part of the knowledge. So that is coming in the next one, the 9th text. Machchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyantira cha ramanticha. Now, once we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, then what the devotee will do? That is given in the translation. The thoughts of my pure devotee dwell in me. This is for devotees in the Krishna is speaking. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. This is the Abhideya part, where the person can re-establish the lost relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead through these activities. Machchitta, always think of Krishna. Madgata prana, make Krishna as the goal of his life. Bodhayanta parasparam, they just discuss among devotees, they will discuss among themselves about the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Katayantascha mam nityam, they will read his pastimes, they will hear his pastimes, they narrate his pastimes. Tushyantischa ramanticha, they will take great pleasure in doing this. Let us read the purport for this. Okay, Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself, and in the mature stage, they are actually situated in the love of God. Once situated in the transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection, which is exhibited by the Lord in his abode. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of the seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them, there are few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand a devotional service. The devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, that seed fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. The spiritual plant of the devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahmajyotir effulgence of the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky also, the plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavana, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. Gradually, as a plant grows fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 19. It is explained that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot live even for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees as stated in the Bhagavatam itself. 12.13.8 Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. In this narration, there is nothing about the material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such a transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Madhuri. This purport will answer all the questions that is asked in the PPT. If applied, would enhance your spiritual practice and could be used in preaching. So if we apply these principles of hearing and chanting the name of the Lord, it will help us to advance in spiritual life, and it will also help us to in preaching how to practice Krishna consciousness. One can preach to others as well. So what is told here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining about the seed, the devotional Bhakti Lata Bija. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasadepaya Bhakti Lata Bija. The living entities in Brahmanda, there are so many living entities, so many number of living entities. Who is the most fortunate is the one who got the association of Guru and Krishna, and so that he got the seed of devotional service. But it is called Bhakti Lata Bija. There is a elaborate description of this. If you have, you can take some time and you can read this Madhya Leela chapter 19. How the Bhakti Lata is given to the devotee and how it is growing, and how what are the different fruits that it produces, and what are the different weeds that may harm the this creeper, and finally where it reaches, and after reaching there, when it gives the what are the different fruits and flowers that it is giving. All these things are very clearly explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, once the person gets this Bhakti Lata Bija, it is his responsibility to water the seed. So when the seed is giving it is coming out, it is sprouting, then the creeper, it will come gradually. So the watering process has to continuously go on. What is this watering process? This is hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Continuously one has to hear, and one should read, and one should associate with the devotees, so that the Bhakti Lata is gradually increasing. So in this way, the devotees are always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. And this is the Abhideya. This is the means by which one can re-establish his lost relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Moving further, the text 10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadhami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayantite. So when we do this earlier text, whatever told, what Krishna does to us, that is given in this. So to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Devotees gets the intelligence, and this intelligence is given by Krishna himself. Once in the book distribution, especially, we can see when we go and meet so many people, there are many people ask so many questions regarding the books or the devotional life, and so many spiritual questions or some of the doubts that they ask. In some of the cases, we will not have any idea how to answer those questions, but at that moment we get some idea and something we tell, and they also get convinced and they take the book. So this is like, if you come for book distribution, you can realize this practically. That intelligence comes from Krishna himself. The Krishna is providing the intelligence. So this intelligence is referring here. I will give the understanding by which they can come to me. So whenever a person is planning to start his devotional life, but there are so many impediments, Krishna will make the arrangement so that he can start his devotional life. And when he becomes more serious, all these impediments are removed. That everyone can go, they can look back and see what are the different impediments that they had in the beginning of their devotional life and how it has got cleared now. So by understanding this, one can easily understand what Krishna is speaking here, how he is removing all the impediments from the devotional life, all the difficulties, they are removed as the person becomes more serious. Yeah. Shri Priya Sampat Mataji, can you read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Now, Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness, that is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence. Yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is a process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he is acting in Karma Yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in Jnana Yoga. And when he knows the goal and sees Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, which is complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Here the most important word is Buddhi Yoga. Dadhami Buddhi Yogam Tam. This Buddhi Yoga is coming in the third chapter also. So Buddhi Yoga means everyone does some activity, and that activity people generally do in ignorance or out of the expectation for sense gratification. But when a person gets the knowledge, and when he acts, when he does some activity, then it is considered as Buddhi Yoga. Some Krishna, as Arjuna has misunderstood in the beginning of the chapter 3, that Krishna, when he told to develop the knowledge, he told Krishna, I'll develop the knowledge, then what is the need for engaging in that activity or karma? Then Krishna says, you have to act with the knowledge. So acting with the knowledge is Buddhi Yoga. One should know what is Krishna, who is Krishna, get the knowledge, and in that knowledge, when he performs his activity as a service to Krishna without any expectation, then that becomes devotional service. So in this way, one can do this Buddhi Yoga. There is no difference between Buddhi Yoga and the devotional service. One can go back to Godhead. Finally, the prayojana or the result of performing devotional service is explained in the 4th shloka, that is in the 11th shloka. Tesham evanu kampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvataha. This is what is going to happen if somebody performs devotional service. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna will destroy all the ignorance that is present in our heart when we do devotional service to him, knowing who am I, who is Krishna, or what is the relation between me and Krishna, and performing the devotional service to him. This is the result that one can derive. Yeah, Deepa Rani Mataji, can you read the purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I read from book?
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Lord Chaitanya was in Banaras, promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, thousands of people were following him. Prakashananda, a very influential and learned scholar in Banaras at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. There are very, very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion, but even if a devotee does not take advantage of their literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The modern philosophers think that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they be without sufficient education and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still helped by Supreme God, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the Supreme Truth, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by speculating, for the Supreme Truth is so great that it is not possible to understand him or to achieve him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the Supreme Truth, he will never understand Krishna or the Supreme Truth. Only by devotional service is the Supreme Truth Krishna pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart. Therefore, he is just like the sun that dissipates the darkness of ignorance. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Due to the contamination of material association, through many millions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal of Vishnu can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the necessities of life. He need not be anxious, because when he removes the darkness of his heart, darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, for he is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the Gita's teachings. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a completely surrendered soul to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So here, Srila Prabhupada is telling, as soon as a person takes to Krishna consciousness, Krishna will start acting in his life, and he will remove all the obstacles from his devotional life, and he will help him to advance in the spiritual life. So this is the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna has explained. Now Arjuna will give his feedback on this, whatever he heard and what he understood after hearing all the answers from Krishna. That will be continued in the next session. Let us see the last sentence, what Srila Prabhupada is telling us. Yeah. Anybody else want to read this? Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
This is the actual essence of Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. I am the origin of everything. One who understands this, bhajante. So just, the bhajan is for whom? Iti matva. When one understands that Krishna is the origin of everything, when one understands perfectly this thing, then his bhajana is perfect. Morning Walk, April 3, 1974. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Shri
Hare.
Prabhupada.
Jai. After learning Bhagavad Gita, if somebody comes to this conclusion, his studying of Bhagavad Gita is complete. If he is not coming to this conclusion, then again go to first chapter and read again. This is the conclusion what Srila Prabhupada is giving. If somebody is not come to this conclusion, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what Bhagavad Gita you have read is not giving the real benefit. So you read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, sincerely in the association of devotees, then definitely you will come to this conclusion. And that conclusion is elaborately explained in the next coming text of Arjuna that will be studied in the next session. So till here, is there any questions, any comments? Devotees can raise their hand and ask. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have got two doubts. Doubts in the sense I am not very clear with that part. Just now you talked about three different words, that is Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. These are the actually what we will say. What should be the caption for it? What these are exactly?
These are the entire Vedic literature is divided into three parts based on these three topics.
Okay,
yeah, Bhagavad Gita begins with that only. Sambandha, identity, who you are the spirit soul, and who is Krishna, and what is the relation between you and Krishna, and how to re-establish it, and after re-establishing, what is the result of it. That is everything you can divide into three parts.
Prabhuji, Abhideya means what it is exactly? Abhideya means the process.
Process.
Is it the process?
Yeah, what we chant every day 16 rounds is Abhideya. And
Prayojana is the result.
The Prayojana is the result. Yes.
Thank you so much. And one more question, that is regarding Shruti and Smriti. When we talk about Shruti, all Vedas are coming under that, isn't it? All the four Vedas.
Yeah.
Shruti. And
yes.
Smriti means Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, isn't it?
Bhagavad Gita is both. Because when we say Shruti, it is directly given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shruti. And Smriti means whatever Shruti says, from that these things are derived. Okay. Now, Bhagavad Gita is coming within the Smriti, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata. But it is Shruti also because Krishna himself is speaking. So Bhagavad Gita is both.
And Vedas can be kept under Shruti only.
Smritis. What you told?
Vedas, all the four
Vedas are Shruti.
Vedas are Shruti. Bhagavad Gita is both Shruti and Smriti.
Puranas are Smriti.
Puranas are Smriti. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these are Smritis. Yeah. Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, when we were discussing about the qualities, against intelligence, there were two examples given. One is Arjuna, I understand that. And one example was given as Vasudeva. Is it Vasudeva or Vasudev? I'm unable to understand this example.
Vasudeva. Vasudeva means Krishna himself.
Yeah, that's
it is Vasudeva. Vasudeva.
Okay. Sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So we are connecting this with the understanding wherein they had the realization because Lord himself appeared as their son. Is it that
yes.
particular example where we are relating it to?
Yeah, Vasudeva is a devotee of the Lord. He has done a lot of austerity in his previous life to get Krishna as his son. So that's why he is considered as intelligent. That is, there is a statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna jo bhaje se bada chatura. One who worships Krishna, he is the most intelligent person.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank
Hare,
you. Hare.
Hare Krishna. Deepa Rani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
My question is not from this chapter, but still I want to know
Okay.
that Haridas Thakur, he was chanting 192 rounds, and which is equivalent to taking 3 lakhs Harinam.
Yes.
And if we are doing 64, that means we are doing 1 lakh Harinam.
Yeah.
So how it is calculated actually? 1 lakh Harinam in 64 rounds.
That you have to 192 rounds. How it becomes 3 lakh? You can count. Hare Krishna.
I don't.
There are 16 names, no, in one
Yes.
Hare Krishna mantra.
Yes. Yes.
I have not got into calculation, but if you make 16 into 108 into 16, how much it will come? And again into you have to multiply with the 4 times. You can check.
It is not coming like that. So I checked.
I will check and tell you, Mataji. I don't want to
Yes.
wrong conclusion. I don't want to give you. I will exactly conclude, because mathematics is always a problem. Whatever calculation we do, finally it should be correct. So I will check and tell you, Mataji.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Shri Priya Mataji, Shri Priya Sampat Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare.
Prabhuji, you said Sambandha is reference 10.8 and 10.9 is Abhidaya. Then 10.10 is Prayojana or 10.11?
Different acharyas have commented on this. There is slight difference. If you see, if you want to exactly want to know, wherever there is a identity of the Lord, that tells about Sambandha. And whichever shloka explains about the devotional service to the Lord, that is Abhidaya. And whatever talks about the result, that is becomes the Prayojana. There is some mixture in the 9th and 10th text.
So 9 and 10 together are Abhidaya, is it?
In 10th one, to those who are constantly engaged in me, serving me with devotion, I'll give them necessary understanding. That again become Prayojana. And the first
so 10
part,
11 comes to Prayojana.
Yeah, first part of 10th shloka is constantly engaged in devotional service to me. That becomes Abhidaya. And the last part becomes necessary understanding giving is again Prayojana. So both are there in that. And 10th one is Prayojana. The 8th text is talking about Krishna is the source of everything. That is Sambandha. And symptoms of pure devotees of Krishna, that is talking told in 9th text, which becomes Abhidaya, one who is always taking pleasure in the discussion of Krishna. And the 10th one is talking about Krishna is the Krishna gives the intelligence to the devotees. So this intelligence giving is the Prayojana. And using that intelligence, he will re-establish the relationship. Again, it becomes the Abhidaya also. It helps. Then the last one is Krishna mercifully destroys the ignorance. That is the Prayojana.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any more questions?